Let's do it.
Today, we're diving into Leil Lowndes' How to Talk to Anyone.
Oh, I love this one.
You guys send over some really fascinating excerpts.
Yeah.
It seems like you're ready to, really crack the code on communication from like those first awkward hellos to really owning a room.
Yeah, she's great.
What's brilliant, I think, about Lowndes' approach is that she digs beneath the surface.
Totally.
It's not just about what you say,
right,
but understanding the kind of the psychology, those subtle cues that really make people tick.
It's true. And it's funny because it's like we all kind of know it, right?
Yeah.
But she just breaks it down in such an applicable way.
Yeah. Like becoming a communication ninja.
Yes.
And the best part is she really does say that anyone can master these techniques.
Absolutely.
It's not like some superpower you're born with or something.
No. It's, you practice and you get better at it.
Totally.
Like anything.
Okay, so let's unpack this idea. You might be surprised to learn that the groundwork for great communication actually often happens before you even say a word.
Before you even open your mouth.
Okay.
It's all about the nonverbal cues.
Let's talk about the power of nonverbals. Lowndes actually uses that wild story of Clever Hans, the counting horse,
Yeah.
to illustrate this point.
Yeah, that's a great example. So Clever Hans, for anyone who doesn't know, this was a horse back in the early 1900s, and he could seemingly do math. He would tap out answers with his hoof.
What?
People were amazed, but what they eventually discovered.
I mean, how could they even? Yeah.
I know.
A horse doing math.
I know, right? What they eventually realized, what they discovered, was that Hans was actually picking up on these really subtle cues from his trainer. From the trainer's body language.
So even a horse could read people like a book. It really makes you realize how much we are all communicating without even realizing it.
All the time. I mean, think about it. The way you hold yourself, our facial expression, even your eye contact.
Oh, yeah.
Sends a message.
Like constant communication.
Constant, yeah.
And speaking of sending the right message, Lowndes talks about mastering what she calls the somebody look.
Yes.
And I have to admit, this sounds a little intriguing.
Right.
So what is the somebody look?
Okay, so it's about projecting this aura of quiet confidence.
Okay.
Like you belong wherever you are, you own the room, and it's about owning those nonverbal cues, to make a killer first impression. And Lowndes actually uses this really vivid image. She says, imagine you're a circus acrobat.
Okay.
About to walk the tightrope, but you've got this imaginary bit in your mouth.
Oh, wow.
And your head is held high.
Okay. I can see how that would instantly boost your kind of confidence.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that subtle shift.
Yeah.
And it's not about being arrogant.
Right.
It's about embodying that sense of capability and presence.
Yeah. That you've got this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And this actually ties into her other advice on posture, keeping a straight back. And this little technique she calls sticky eyes.
Sticky eyes. Okay. You have to tell me more about this.
I know, right?
What does that even mean?
Okay, so sticky eyes. It's all about making strong, lingering eye contact.
Okay.
Okay, so imagine that your eyes are actually stuck to your conversation partner with some warm taffy.
Okay.
And when you do look away, you do it slowly, almost reluctantly, as if that taffy string is stretching and stretching.
And then it breaks.
And then finally breaks.
Okay, so you're making the other person feel like they have your undivided attention.
Exactly.
Like they're the only one in the room.
Yes, you're present.
Powerful stuff.
It shows genuine interest and engagement, which is so crucial for building rapport right off the bat.
Okay, we've nailed this. Look, we're holding their gaze with our sticky eyes. What's next?
Don't forget the flooding smile.
Oh, right. Tell me more about the flooding smile.
Okay, so it's not about a quick fleeting smile. This is about smiling slowly, deliberately, letting it spread across your face whoa, like a flood.
Okay.
It should reach your eyes. It makes you appear much more genuine and approachable.
Yeah, you can totally spot a fake smile a mile away.
A mile away.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Lansan stresses that this needs to be genuine.
Yeah.
A forced smile won't have the same effect. It's about that warmth and sincerity that makes people feel like that smile is just for them.
It's for them.
Yes.
Okay.
But, and this is important, you don't want to come across as inauthentic. Or, as she puts it, be too out of sync with the other person's energy.
Oh, like those menzons in the elevator who totally overwhelmed her with facts.
Exactly. Like they meant well.
Yeah, it was just too much.
Way too much. Their energy, clashed with her more mellow mood. And then she compares it with, remember that maitre d's at that fancy French restaurant? It was a similar mismatch, but he was aloof and she was excited.
Yeah. So reading the room, or, the elevator in this case, it's crucial.
It's key.
It's about meeting people where they are.
Yes.
Emotionally before you launch into a conversation.
Before you even, it's all about that.
Which leads us to small talk.
It's funny. We often dread small talk.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Right. But it doesn't have to be painful.
I think that's where a lot of us, like myself included, really stumble. But Lowndes argues that it's not about trying to, wow people with how clever you are.
It's not about showing off.
No.
It's about them.
Yes.
She says small talk should be about creating a comfortable, enjoyable experience for the other person.
It's about putting them at ease, not trying to impress them with your vast knowledge of 17th century pottery or something.
Yeah. Or the history of, I don't know, paper clips. Nobody cares.
Right. Yeah.
It's about those threads of common experience.
Yeah.
And Lowndes actually tells this great story about Senator Hayakawa, who was a linguist, and striking up a conversation on a train using the most basic observations.
Oh, yeah. He talks about, the weather, how crowded it is, things we all usually try to avoid talking about.
Exactly. And yet, those super simple comments, delivered sincerely, sparked a genuine connection.
Wow.
That actually blossomed into a long-lasting friendship. Can you believe it?
Oh, from just hey, it's kind of crowded on here.
I know. It's a good reminder that sometimes the best way to connect is by simply acknowledging a shared reality.
Yeah.
Even if it's just agreeing that, yep, this train is really packed.
Totally.
Yeah.
So then I guess that leads us to the next hurdle, which is how to ask the right questions.
Yes.
Because that's always tough, you know. Lowndes suggests kind of ditching that dreaded what do you do?
Ugh, I know, the worst.
And instead finding ways to spark genuine interest.
Yes, exactly.
And this is where her never the naked city and never the naked job concepts come in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so never the naked city, basically. Instead of just giving a one-word answer about where you're from, you offer a little intriguing detail.
Okay, so instead of just saying, I'm from Denver.
Right.
I might say, I'm from Denver, where the craft brewery scene is booming. There's this cool new spot downtown that...
Yes. And just like that,
yeah,
you've made it so much more interesting.
Yeah, you've given them something to, connect with.
Yes.
Okay.
You've differentiated yourself.
Yeah.
The same goes for your job. Don't just say, oh, I'm a writer.
Yeah.
Share, a quick anecdote or detail that makes it come alive.
I'm a writer, and I'm currently working on a series of short stories inspired by...
Perfect. See?
Yeah.
Instantly, you've sparked their curiosity, you've made yourself memorable, and instead of asking, what do you do, you can try, how do you spend most of your time?
Oh, I like that.
Right.
Because it acknowledges that our work lives aren't always...
Don't define us.
They don't always reflect our true passions.
Mm.
And then it kind of opens the door for them to share their hobbies, their interests.
Yes. The things that make them tick.
Yeah. I like that.
Now, while we're on the topic of making an impression, Lowndes also delves into the often overlooked power of vocabulary.
Oh.
But, and I want to be clear here, she's not advocating for, using big words just to show off.
Right. There's nothing worse than someone who sounds like they're constantly auditioning for a spelling bee.
Totally. Who are you?
Yeah, exactly.
It's about enriching your communication, choosing words that really paint a picture. Yeah. So Lowndes suggests building a personal thesaurus.
Ooh.
Start swapping out those common overused words with more evocative ones.
So instead of saying it was a good party,
right,
I might say it was a lively gathering.
Exactly. You've added a little touch of flair. But always remember, authenticity is key here. The word should feel natural to you, not forced.
Right. Yeah. What I love about Lowndes' approach is that she emphasizes that sometimes the smartest thing you can do is just listen.
Yes.
Actually just be quiet and listen.
She reminds us that, truly effective communication, it's a two-way street. It isn't just about, speaking eloquently.
Yeah.
It's about listening intently and responding in a way that shows you were, really paying attention.
She talks about techniques like parroting and be a word detective, right?
Yes.
What is parroting?
Okay, so with parroting, you basically just repeat the last few words your conversation partner said.
Okay.
Often with like a slight upward inflection. It's such a simple technique,
Yeah.
but it works wonders.
Because it shows that you're engaged.
Yes.
And it's like invites them to kind of like elaborate.
Ring. Yeah. It
Kept
starts-
those conversational threads going.
And being a word detective is about, paying close attention to those little clues, those offhand remarks that can actually reveal like hidden passions or interests.
Oh, that's like you're piecing together a treasure map.
Yes.
To their like inner world.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's such a great analogy. And when you tap into that, like you are creating this sense of intimacy that goes way beyond surface level chit chat.
Totally.
Right.
Which kind of brings us to that next level, which is like forging those deeper connections.
Yeah.
And Lowndes have some like pretty fascinating strategies for creating what she calls instant intimacy,
Yes.
which again sounds a little intimidating.
I'll play it.
But one that really stood out to me was this idea of using we prematurely.
Yes.
Like you might think that would feel awkward.
You'd think so, right?
Yeah.
But using we, even with someone you like just met, can foster a sense of like shared experience.
So like instead of saying like, oh, the weather's really cooperating today,
Right.
you would say like, we're so lucky the weather's cooperating today, even if you just met the person 2 minutes ago.
Exactly. It subtly implies like we're in this together.
Oh, wow.
A shared viewpoint.
Okay.
And she also talks about creating what she calls instant history by referencing a shared moment.
Okay, so like, remember when that waiter almost took a spill with that tray of drinks? I thought for sure those were going down.
Yes, exactly. It creates this like instant camaraderie, this inside joke
Oh, wow.
that like bonds you together.
From, again, like something that happened like 2 minutes ago.
I know. Okay. Wow.
Powerful stuff,
Yeah.
right?
So simple,
Okay.
but so effective.
And of course, we can't talk about connection without talking about like compliments.
Of course not.
We're like, key.
But, Lowndes cautions against those like generic overused ones.
Yes, nobody wants to hear like, oh, I like your shoes, come on.
That's a nice shirt.
Yeah, exactly. This is where her killer compliment strategy comes in. Okay, tell me about the killer compliment.
All right. So instead of offering like this general compliment, you really zero in on a specific, genuine detail that truly resonates with that person.
Okay.
Okay. It shows you're paying attention.
Yeah, you're not just like saying the same thing to every single person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But she stresses that this is a powerful tool to be used sparingly. Overdoing it will backfire.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
anything, you want your compliments to be genuine, heartfelt.
It's about making the other person feel seen and appreciated.
Yes. Yes.
Without, laying it on too thick.
Exactly.
So we've talked about kind of like building that rapport.
Right.
But what about those like subtle social missteps that can totally like derail a conversation?
Oh, yeah.
Or even a relationship.
Totally.
Lowndes kind of dives into that, particularly in professional settings.
Yeah, she talks about like the importance of reading between the lines, especially in like a business setting where so much communication is nonverbal. You know how when you go to like a car dealership,
Oh, tell me about it.
it's like they can like interpret every fidget, every glance.
They have like a sixth sense?
I swear, they have like a sixth sense for it.
Right.
And that's kind of like what Lowndes is getting at.
Okay.
It's about tuning into those subtle signals,
Okay.
the ones that reveal what people are really thinking,
Yeah.
even if they're not saying it out loud.
So then using that intel to kind of like adjust your approach, I guess.
Exactly.
Knowing when to keep pushing and when to maybe like ease up a bit.
Totally.
It's like you're speaking their language without actually speaking it.
Yes, you're reading the room, you're reading their energy,
Yeah.
and responding accordingly.
It's a good skill to have.
It is.
I feel like I need to work on that for sure.
Well, we all do.
Yeah.
It's a constant practice. Yeah.
She also reminds us that even in like those more casual settings, there were these unspoken rules.
Right.
These like social safe zones where certain topics are just like
Off limits.
off limits.
Yeah.
Like that story she tells about the Christmas party
Oh, yeah.
where like some poor soul, maybe one too many eggnog lattes in, brings up like a completely inappropriate business proposition.
Yeah.
Total mood killer.
Yeah, like, read the room. Everyone's just trying to, like, enjoy the holidays. And you're like, let's talk shop. No.
No, come on, man.
Yeah.
Read the room, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that context is everything. There's a time and a place for those conversations, and being mindful of those boundaries.
Totally.
It's crucial, especially if you want to, build those lasting relationships.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And then, there's this really intriguing concept Lowndes introduces.
Okay.
It's called the Great Scorecard in the Sky. Okay, the Great Scorecard in the Sky. All right, you're going to have to, break this one down for me, because
I know, right? It sounds
sounds very mystical.
a little woo-woo, but just stay with me here. Okay.
Yeah, okay, you're right.
So imagine there's this invisible scorecard, okay?
Okay.
And it's tracking the balance of power
Okay.
in every interaction.
It's interesting.
It's constantly being updated based on who's adding value,
Okay.
who's being respectful, who's making the other person feel good.
So it's not just about what you say then.
No, not at all.
It's about how you make the other person feel.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And being aware of this dynamic can be incredibly helpful, especially in negotiations or those high stakes conversations.
Yeah, where you really need to be at your best.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that power is fluid. It's always shifting, right?
Yeah.
And understanding how your actions impact that balance can give you a real advantage. And I don't mean in a manipulative way.
Right.
But in a way that allows you to navigate those interactions with more
with more awareness.
And intention.
So mastering kind of those subtle dynamics of communication.
It's
It's like a chess game almost.
It is you're playing chess, not checkers. Yes.
It's funny when you think about those people that you admire, the ones who just seem to breeze through life with these amazing communication skills. I always wonder
Right, were they always like that?
Were they always like that, or is this something they actively worked at?
Right.
They cultivated.
And that's what's so encouraging, I think, about Lowndes' work is that she reminds us that communication is a skill.
Yeah.
And any skill,
You can learn it.
you can hone it, you can master it. The more you practice these techniques, the more natural and effortless they become.
So it's about kind of becoming a student of communication, I guess.
100%.
Paying attention, trying new things.
Yes.
And not being afraid to stumble along the way because, hey, I'm sure,
We all stumble.
even the smoothest talkers
Yeah.
probably had some awkward moments, way back when.
I'm sure. I mean, can you imagine? Yeah, it's all part of the process.
Totally.
And Lowndes, she wraps up the book with this really powerful message.
Okay.
She says that these skills, this ability to really connect with others, it's not just about, making a good impression or getting ahead in your career or whatever.
Yeah.
It's about creating a richer, more fulfilling life.
It's about connection.
Connection.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's what we all crave.
Yeah, we all want to feel seen. We all want to feel heard. We all want to feel,
We want to feel like we belong.
yeah, we want to belong.
Like we're part of something.
Yes, exactly.
And mastering these techniques, it can help you build those deeper relationships.
Yeah.
Navigate those challenging conversations with more grace.
More confidence.
And ultimately, show up
Yes.
as that most confident, charismatic version of yourself.
Isn't that what it's all about?
It's it, my friend.
Yeah. So to our listener out there, as you're, going about your day today, think about those little things that, what was it? That flooding smile.
Flooding smile.
Those sticky eyes.
Oh, yeah. Sticky eyes. Get those eyes sticky.
The Great Scorecard in the Sky.
Yeah. See, you've got it.
Give it a try. You might be surprised by the positive ripple effects these techniques can have on your interactions, on your relationships, on your even just your own sense of self.
Because you are, at the heart of it, the art of talking to anyone.
Yeah.
It really is just the art of connecting with anyone.
Yes.
And that's a skill worth mastering.
It is. It really is. Couldn't agree more. So go forth and connect, everybody.